Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but sesame ginger noodles are literally never a bad idea. So we're gonna make them. Now you may have noticed that I titled this kind of meal prep. And the reason for that is because we're not actually gonna be making the whole dish all together, but rather making parts of it so that you can just easily put it together throughout the week. I think it's going to end up turning out really good. And while this recipe is generally also pretty easy as it goes, it's even easier because I made it so that the marinade and the sauce are actually the same thing. So all you're going to have to do is just make a big thing of the sauce and go from there. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. Now, first thing you're going to notice is I've got my food processor out. Now, you can actually just whisk this all together. Main reason I'm doing this is I actually kind of hate mincing up garlic and ginger sometimes. And I've got a few cloves and a pretty decent sized knob of ginger. And plus, it's just going to emulsify really nicely in here. It's going to cut some of the work out. So, this is pretty easy. What we're going to do, we're going to start with some soy sauce. Now, I always like to get the quote-unquote seasoning sauce that you usually find in like the Asian grocery stores and stuff like that. It's like good soy sauce. You wouldn't think there's a difference in soy sauces, but there totally is. 3/4 cup of soy sauce, 3/4 cup of rice vinegar. The biggest fly I have ever seen is flying around my kitchen right now. And I can't just like slap it and kill it because I've got all this stuff around me and I know I'm gonna break something if I try. So I'm just gonna have to deal with it for now or hope that Corin does his due diligence. About 3/8 cup of honey, or roughly 6 tablespoons, 4 decent sized cloves of garlic, about a 3 or so inch knob of ginger, peeled. By the way, I found out that if you peel ginger, it can squirt in your eye, and if it does, it burns like hell, so be careful. I'm gonna throw about 1/2 cup of peanut butter in this guy, so I don't know, like that. Is that 1/2 cup? These amounts aren't exact. They don't have to be exact. Just gonna put everything in there and let it go until it's all nice and broken down and emulsified. So now that everything's blended, I did forget to mention when I started blending everything, I also have some sriracha in here. Sriracha to taste, it's actually, put probably about 6-7 tablespoons in there, and it's actually not gonna make it super spicy. It's more gonna add that like nice sriracha flavor and give it just a touch of heat, but everything else is gonna kind of mute that spiciness. So if you want it really spicy, add some more, but if not, it's perfectly good. Now, the one thing I did not add to the food processor is sesame oil. Now, the reason for that, if you recall from my Irish egg roll video, there is what's called polyphenols in sesame oil and extra virgin olive oil and a few other oils. And what that basically means is that when they are blended at high speeds, it disperses them throughout and it makes it really bitter. So I didn't want to put that in the food processor, so I just poured it in here and I'm just going to whisk it in. And this might not actually be the best vessel for whisking. We shall see. Actually, you know what? That's working out pretty all right. That emulsified quite nicely, actually. So taste it to see if you need any seasoning. You know, the amount of soy sauce in there, we definitely don't need any salt. But I'm inclined to add some black pepper. I haven't mentioned it in a while, but you guys know how I feel about black pepper. Yeah, that's really good. So, let's marinate some chicken. All right, so I've got my chicken thighs in a bag here. Now, you don't have to use chicken thighs if you don't want to. That's just my preferred cut of chicken. I think it's the tastiest, the most flavorful, what have you. And I've got about 3-ish pounds here. You do however much you want to do. Just keep in mind that it's going to be for, I don't know, however many days you want to eat it, but no more than like 3 to 4 days worth, otherwise your chicken's going to get gross. So, just going to take some of our sauce / marinade, and we're just going to pour some in there. And you really just want enough that it's going to coat the chicken. That's probably enough right there. That was, I don't know, maybe 1/2 cup, as one does when they marinate. Seal the bag, get as much of the air out as possible. And then just work it around for a second. Make sure everything's nice and evenly coated. And now we're gonna stick this in the fridge, and you wanna let it marinate from anywhere bare minimum of 30 minutes up to 12 hours. You go any longer than 12 hours, it's gonna start affecting the texture of the chicken and kind of breaking down. And about halfway through the marination process, you just wanna flip the bag over, make sure the sauces can redistribute and everything. So let that marinate, we'll come back. All right, so chicken is done marinating. I went ahead and threw it in the oven. It's baking on a foil line baking sheet at 425 for, I don't know, 20 or so minutes until it's done. You know how we do here. I do want some veggies in here. So I'm just cutting up some carrots and some mushrooms that I'm going to end up sauteing. Also got some cherry tomatoes here that I'm going to cut up just because I want to have a salad with this using the dressing that I made in the previous short that I posted. So check that out. Okay, we are over at our stove. Our chicken's done. We're ready to just kind of put this all together. I'm going to move kind of quickly because I've got a ripping hot wok right now. So, we've got our mushrooms and our carrots, and also the tough root end of a scallion I chopped up pretty fine. So we're just going to throw that in there. Just going to let that go for a second. You don't have to use a wok if you don't want to. I have a wok and it felt appropriate, but you can totally do this just in any pan. You really don't even have to go this far with how we've got it all prepped out. You can just cook your noodles, throw the sauce on them, maybe throw some veggies in them. I need to eat some vegetables every now and then. Especially since, I quit working in the kitchen and I DoorDash most of the days now. Your boy's getting kind of fat. I'm not as mobile as I used to be, so I need to work on that. Start working out a little bit, eating healthier. Because I sit around all day in my car, which is great. For all the podcasts I get to listen to and stuff like that. But definitely put on some weight. So now I've got a couple of our chicken thighs that I've sliced up. These things turned out amazing. So good. So good. Just going to let those get in there, get a little bit of a sear on them. I'm flipping more than I need to, but that's because it's really fun to flip food in woks. That nice hot, get those veggies nice and cooked. You probably shouldn't put your hand in a hot pan like I am. And now, I did kind of forget how starchy noodles are. You'd think I'd remember since I make a lot of noodles. But I'm gonna just throw some in here. And now I use Udon noodles. You don't have to use Udon noodles. I wanted to use Udon noodles because it felt appropriate and I wanted to. Or you can use spaghetti for this if you really want to. Let's go ahead and get our sauce in here. Just gonna pour a little bit of our sauce. Make sure you get some on the noodles to help break them up right away. Holy shit, that's good. Oh my god. All right, so it's nice and hot. Everything's evenly dispersed. Veggies are cooked. Let's go ahead and get this plated up. Now this is a fair amount of noodles, maybe a little bit more than I meant to, but I also am pretty damn hungry, and I guarantee y'all I'm going to eat this whole thing. So, plating with some tongs, getting that nice little twist going. It's not the most necessary for this, but I know that y'all know that I like to make my plates look good. Something about a nice looking plate that makes you want to eat it, which is not how I cook all the time. My standard breakfast lately has just been oatmeal with bacon and eggs all mashed together. That's just a bowl of slop, but that's also hitting some needs sometimes too. If there's anything that I do in my videos that will tell you that I used to be a cook in a nice restaurant, it's that I do this. I always wipe down my plates. Get rid of any fingerprints, any sauce stains. Just tighten that plate up. So, almost there. Garnish. I mentioned earlier I had some scallion ends in the wok. It's because I cut up some scallion. So I'm just going to sprinkle that over. And finally, some toasted sesame seeds, because, sesame is one of the themes here. Oh, that is so sexy. I think the last thing we need to do is try this, and I'm really excited because I haven't made a meal this good looking in a while. A little bit of everything on there. You ever make something, you're pretty sure it's going to be good, but then it just completely exceeds your expectations? That's what this is. This is, holy shit, this is good. So, I'm about to just smash this whole plate. In the meantime, normal housekeeping as usual. Those buttons down there. Tell YouTube you like me. Additionally, Patreon homies and YouTube homies. I enabled memberships on my YouTube channel now, guys. So if you've been wanting to support me, but for whatever reason you don't want to do it over Patreon, you can now join the channel and become a channel member. And you'll get all the exact same perks that you get through a Patreon membership. Right now I only have one tier, but I may open it up to other tiers. So Patreon and YouTube homies, shout out to all y'all. I love you guys so much. You help me pay my bills every month. You know, I think that's it. Love y'all. See you soon.